Hey, you found the K Cup again. Welcome, everybody. This is the official podcast of the Kelly Construction Group. I'm Joe Nortrup, your host, and I'm here today with the CEO and founder, Jon Kelly. Today, we're going to talk about three key elements that you want to consider if you're going to start a business. And welcome back, Jon. Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Good to be here.
We said we were going to come back with some, valuable content where folks can use it if they want to apply it to their business, if they're thinking about starting a business, or maybe you've already started a business but feel like they need a little direction. So we're going to talk about three key points that they would want to consider if they're going to, be running a business. And the 3 points are understanding your why. Point number 2 is knowing what your vision is or having a vision. And then the third one is considering the old culture, what we talked about, in our first episode, you touched on a little bit. So we're going to talk on those 3 points. Hopefully you're going to share some of your wisdom with us today about those 3 items and how they affect a business and why they're so important to consider. So let's dive in and let's go ahead and get into point number 1, the why. What do you think is important about understanding your why for having a business?
Okay, yeah, to jump right into that. Well, first of all, I don't know if I have a lot of wisdom to impart, but I can definitely share my story.
We'll take what we can get.
Kind of put what's out there. But as far as the why goes, I think the why is very important. I think for myself, I started. I know why I wanted to start a business. I remember why I wanted to do it. But it really wasn't front of focus. Like once I started having a business or once I started getting work and doing that kind of stuff, I kind of lost focus of that.
Sure.
And, for a long time, it was just trying to grow the business, and it turned into quite a bit of a little grind and, the ups and downs that come with all of that. And then I hired a few people, but really just got pretty burnt out there for a while. And it wasn't really till I really stopped and thought at some point, like, why am I doing this? I kind of made a real decision at one point in my mind, like either things got to change or I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
And when I kind of really started to have that evaluation process, I began to think about why I was doing it. And it kind of brought me back to why I wanted to start the company in the first place. And once I remembered that, and once I brought that why back into focus, it really kind of re-energized me. It really kind of gave me the fuel I needed to take things to the next level.
Yeah.
And really, I think that's why it's important, because it's going to be tough. There's times, and some businesses take right off and you hit the top and you never have a real climb. But I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, you find the up and downs and the good times and the bad times. And I think that why gives you the energy and the focus to continue to move on and to reach your goal. Without that why, you're just out there kind of grinding away with no purpose except for making money, and that's not enough drive usually. So I think that's why the why is important.
Yeah, no, I think those are some great points. I could see where, like you said, if you don't know your why, then when things get difficult, you can find yourself questioning why you're even, fooling around with this. Why not just go find a job somewhere and let someone else have all the headache, So
right.
Having that why, that purpose, is what drives you, gives you the motivation, and it kind of gives you that resilience to keep going. Because like you brought out, there's a lot of ups and downs when you first start a business, and if you don't know the why, it's really hard to just keep motivated and keep moving forward. So that's great. Anything else you want to add to the why?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Just know that it's important. For some people listening, you might, well, the why is not important, but it really does give you that extra gear when you know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the rocket engine strapped to your back, kind of keeps you going.
Right.
That's pretty good. All right, well, let's get into point number 2, and we'll see how this, how you tie the why into point number 2. And that point is talking about having a vision. Why is having a vision so important?
Well, I think vision does a couple of things for you. I think as the owner, it keeps you on track. It gives you something to measure against. But then also, vision also gives your employees a destination, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, without a vision, the employees are kind of just on a train ride to who knows where.
Yeah.
But if you have a vision and it's spelled out and it's understood, then employees know where this train's headed.
Yeah.
And when you know where the train's headed, everybody's working in the same direction. Everybody's pulling. Everybody's trying to get to the same place.
Yeah.
Without that vision, uh, you don't have that. You have a lot of people working and not really knowing what the end goal is. And I just think the vision really brings it to perspective, what we're trying to do. And just like the why, it kind of gives everybody another gear to understand where we going and what we're trying to get towards, rather than just sitting idle, kind of wondering what we're doing and where we're headed.
Yeah.
The vision for me gives me an opportunity to stop and take a look and just say, man, are we on path to get to where we're trying to get? And just kind of an evaluation process for the owner or for myself to just try to keep everything headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I think that's why vision's important.
Yeah. Those are all good points again. And one thing that you had mentioned before when we were discussing it, and I thought it was also a good point, is that the vision can change from, who knows, month to month, year to year, depending on, what your ultimate vision is. So
Right.
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, vision can definitely change. And I think in most cases, vision probably does change.
Yeah.
I think your why probably don't change. Your
Hmm.
why kind of stays the same.
Yeah.
But the more you answer your why, I think your vision kind of broadens. Uh, and so I think it's perfectly okay for vision to change. And I would say in most cases, it probably does.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when it changes, as you mentioned earlier, you have to inform the team, so to speak, whatever that, however that looks, you have to make sure that the team understands, hey, we've shifted gears in our vision or whatever, because that's how, vision allows for team alignment. But if the vision changes, obviously we need to be able to communicate that to the team in a way that makes sense to them, so they understand that, look, we're headed in this direction, but we're really going to focus right here on the way there.
Right.
So we need to get in line.
Yeah. I mean, I think vision changes typically when you reach certain potential or when you reach a certain level
Yeah.
of your original vision.
Kind of benchmarks along the
Yeah.
way.
And I think at some point you probably become satisfied and your vision probably sustains.
Hmm.
But I think for most people, the vision certainly changes a few times.
Yeah. And I've definitely seen that in my time here, that the vision has, to me, it's gotten, um, even though it's broader because the company's definitely grown, it almost seems more in focus. At the
Yeah.
same time, if that's possible, it can get bigger, but yet more clear to the team where you're headed. So
Yeah, no, I think so. I agree with that.
yeah. So we got the why, which is your engine, your motivation, what keeps you driving, and then secondly, we got the vision, the roadmap, kind of tells us where we're going. So third, let's talk about culture. I know that you have very strong feelings about culture, but uh, we have all got to experience, because of those strong feelings that you've had about culture and how you develop it as your team, we've been able to actually experience the difference that focus on culture makes. So maybe you can share with those listening why it is a difference maker, and how you go about finding that culture.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just referenced vision similar to a roadmap, and the why is kind of why are you willing to take that trip? And then to me, culture is the automobile that allows you to make that trip successfully.
Hmm.
So I think culture is very important. I mean, you got to have a good environment. You got to have a good workplace.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is just a place that's appealing to work at, a place that's fun to come to. And then you got to have the right people. People's key. I mean, people is the biggest part of business, right? Uh, so you just got to be really selective about getting the right people for the culture that you have and making sure those pieces fit together. Uh, Ultimately, culture is how we're going to achieve our goals. It's how we're going to make the customer happy. It's how we're going to be happy internally.
Yeah.
So culture is very important, and if not, one of the biggest biggest things in a company that I think can be overlooked.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that you could just get 4 or 5 people together, put out a bunch of tasks, and everybody get their tasks done, and
Yeah.
the company does well. But that's just really not how it works. Maybe in some cases, but I find that once you have a good culture of people that can work together, willing to do anything. We all started here. We all were able to wear, or we were able, but willing is the better word,
Yeah.
to wear multiple hats.
Yeah.
We've developed to where most of our people only wear one hat.
Yeah.
But there was a time where we had certain people estimating, project managing, and maybe even running some jobs. But now we have developed those positions. But to me, that's a testament of our culture that you were kind of willing to do any and everything until we could develop those positions like we have.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of a way culture really can work.
Yeah.
The other thing is just to have client satisfaction.
Yes.
We all talk about our process, and everybody's bought into the way we want to do business, and everybody being bought in, we see the results with our customers. We have a very high satisfaction rate from our customers, and not that we're perfect, but we try really hard, and everybody believes the same way because of our culture.
Yeah.
So for those type of reasons, that's the reasons that culture is important. And if you're not focusing on culture, it should be a big focus.
Yeah. If you're not focused on it, it will come back and bite you. And so what you're saying, what it sounds like to me you're saying is that a good culture really facilitates a company's ability to grow, because you're getting all these folks, not only are they willing to get aligned to pursue the vision, but they're pulling in the same direction. And not just one or two people out of your team, but the whole team's generally pulling in the same direction, which is uh, amazing, because that's how things really get done, and that's how true growth can happen. We also, are aware that like companies that have good culture, they tend to have, you know, innovation is part of their DNA. Like they'll have team members that'll come up with, problem solving solutions for different things that come up. We see that in our leadership meetings. Like, there'll be certain problems you'll bring up, and the members of the leadership team will come up with ideas to, for solutions, and
Right.
and then we go ahead and execute those solutions, and they seem to work out. So that's a sign of good culture, and a sign of everybody pulling in the same direction towards the same goal. So culture is very important, and we're glad that we got a good one here.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I know in the beginning of that, we kind of alluded to culture being like the automobile to get to that vision, to get to that destination. And I mean, you can get really bad cars, you can get really good cars, and it's a lot more comfortable traveling in a really good car.
That's
So
right.
it's kind of the easy way to look at it. Like,
Yeah.
just go build the best culture you can get
Yeah.
to make sure you have the best ride to get to that destination.
Yep.
So yeah, culture's super important.
That's a good analogy. You can be driving an old jalopy down the road with a bent frame, or you can build you a good culture and be driving that sweet SUV or
Right.
whatever.
Plenty of room.
Plenty of room and comfortable ride. So, all right. Well, that's great, man. Those are three great, key elements. You apparently you put a lot of weight on those three items, being a business owner yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Just because if you get too caught up in just wanting to have a business, your air conditioning business or plumbing business or whatever it is, uh, if it's just business without any of these things, it just becomes just a mundane, just really I don't know. I'm not not exactly sure what I'm trying to say here, but without these three, you're just kind of working in the dark.
Yeah.
Once you get develop these three things,
Yeah.
the business side takes care of itself. The plumbing side takes care of itself.
Yeah.
That's stuff that you have to know, and you have to understand how to do that.
Yeah.
But you need these items to grow a business and,
Yeah.
and to grow a good, successful business.
Yeah.
Specifically, if you're wanting to build a team and to build a business that kind of operates without you as the owner doing everything.
Yeah.
So,
Which is definitely not what you want. So, all right. Well, that's awesome. Great tips, Jon. We appreciate that. So remember these three key elements. You really need to consider what your why is. Have that vision thought out so at least you have a direction and the way you want to go. And then when it comes time to hire up, make sure that you're considering what kind of culture that you want to have. And like Jon brought out, culture's really everything. If you got a bad culture, you can even have a good why and a good vision, but you might have a hard time executing those with a bad culture. So, great tips. We look forward to getting some more business advice from Jon. He's got many years of experience, and it's been good to discuss all these things today. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us here at the K Cup. We hope you come back. You can catch us at on YouTube at the K Cup, our podcast, and you can follow us on LinkedIn at Kelly Construction Group. So thanks again for hanging out, and we'll see you again soon.